was so afraid that if just once I slowed down, the world would come crashing to my feet. To keep it all afloat and keep the balls up in the air, the facade I just couldn't see. Now to lay this all to rest in peace, to invest and let the pieces fall where they may. 'Cause I am safe inside myself, looking now to no one else. For the answers only I can testify. Safe inside myself, for the first time I have felt that alone or not, I will be alright. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'll be alright. Well, it took 30 years, but now I see the little girl behind the tears. I reach out for her hand and she takes mine. Now I am complete, I am where I'm supposed to be. I have and am enough, yeah, I'm alright. Sometimes I sing these words to convince myself. I'm told to first pretend until I believe that I am fine. I am fine. I am alright. And I am safe inside myself, looking now to no one else. For the answers only I can testify. Safe inside myself, for the first time I have felt that alone or not, I will be alright. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'll be alright. I cannot be all things to everyone, and what's more, I don't want to be, no, not perfect in every test, but enough nonetheless. If I know what else for me, and I am safe inside myself, looking now to no one else. For the answers only I can testify. Safe inside myself, for the first time I have felt that alone or not, I will be alright. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'll be alright. I am fine. I am fine. I am alright. I am fine. You are fine. We are alright. Thank you so much. Or for those of you who have heard Amy Steinberg do doing an imitation of my, it's already on. Doing an imitation of my southern accent. Better than fine, better than fine. She called me one time on the way down the mountain and couldn't see. And I said, well, how far can you see? And she said, I don't know, 10 feet. I was like, 10 feet's good. I didn't say it like that, I don't think. But when she tells the story, I'm real southern. But that's okay. I am real southern. That's freedom. Uh-oh. That was a little something. John's like, I'm on it. That's freedom, being able to say that I'm fine in my own skin. I wrote that song for myself, to myself, swore I would never sing it to another person. It's on 2 CDs. It's one of my most requested songs. Because we all need to know that we're okay. We're better than fine. We are enough. All these ideas that we're disappointments, all these ideas that I've been called to do something, but I don't know what. I'm just feeling that call, that pull. You don't have to be a minister to feel a call. Trust me, we all feel it. It's spirit moving through us. And we feel this pull to the more always and in so many ways. And then we're like, but I don't know how. Well, guess what? If you knew how, it's not the right pull because we're not supposed to know how. So I heard this awesome message where Reverend Dale is telling this story. Did y'all hear it last week? I think it was last week where he's telling the story about he's leading a sweat lodge and somebody was like going to die, feeling like they were going to die. And he said, that this person was, he didn't know that they were thinking, I'm literally going to die. The flap is shut. The steam is rolling. We are in the middle of nowhere out 2 miles out in the woods in, Unity Village, like way out. And I might actually die. He told that story. If you heard, how many people heard that story, right? And he said, and he didn't know that this person was thinking, I think I'm going to die. And he says, in his infinite wisdom, if you feel like you're going to die, just go on and die. And I heard that message last week, and he said, and I didn't know that someone was thinking, I'm going to die. Hi, I'm someone. That was me. And I was literally thinking, I feel my throat starting to close. I need some water. I need a cough drop or something, maybe an inhaler. I need something. And I literally thought I'm going to die. But beyond the physical, what I took into that sweat lodge was a desire to let go, a desire to surrender, all that not knowing how. I took into that sweat lodge the intention to release my tight-knuckled grip on how do I do this, God, okay? And so as I lay there on that sweat lodge, dirt floor, sweat against the earth, mud dripping, and him saying, just go on and die, I thought, okay, it's got to be better than this. This is what we think of when we think of surrender, don't we? It's just that point where you're just like, okay, God, whew. But see, I'd kind of known about that. I grew up Southern Baptist. I knew about I surrender, I surrender all. I knew about that concept of surrender, that concept, that little tiny first step concept is what I call it, the first concept of surrender, where I'm just going to be like, I don't know how, just go ahead and take this. Well, then there's more steps. There's more ways that we get to surrender, the more we become aware on this spiritual journey. I love that as we go into the prayer room over here, there's a blank shelf. Have y'all seen that? There's a blank shelf and a note from Reverend Dale that says, please leave this blank for a little while. Another piece of surrender is leaving space. What wants to happen here? Right? When we say, I release, okay, Spirit, I release criticism, self-doubt, fear. I release criticism. Did I mention that one already? Criticism. We got so much to be critical about in our minds if we don't, and you do it. Because it's a constant practice to release it, let it go, to empty. But see, that emptying, even though it's a very important piece of surrender, the releasing the judgments and the criticisms and the doubts and the fears and the old patterns, it's a very important piece. Because then we get to leave room for what wants to take its place. We get to leave room for what wants to fill up those shelves, right? What do we want to bring back in? I first decided before August 1 even hit. My sabbatical started August 1. Before August 1 even hit, I'd already booked myself through the whole sabbatical. And then I went, no, wait a second. Had to make some phone calls. I'm so sorry. I spoke too soon. I got excited because I had some free time, and I was going to come to here, go to there, and go to there, and go to there, and go to there. And not that the other places that I had to back out of don't feed my soul as well, but I knew that I wanted also time. But the old pattern came in of, blank space on the calendar, we shall fill it, right? No, just let it be, let it breathe, let it be for a minute. You see, we, as a collective consciousness on this planet, y'all, we went through that thing called COVID, that 2 years plus of so much loss and so much fear and so much tightness. We had a worldwide pandemic, but we never really finished, I don't think, the grieving process, the healing process. Right now, I think it's time for us to embrace and surrender into a worldwide healing, a worldwide grieving, where we can be with the stickiness and the messiness of life and let it be okay, hold everything in love. Find a way to do that. I love the book by Jeff Foster. It's called The Way of Rest. And he says that very thing. So that's where it came to mind. Holding everything in love and being able to be in that place of I surrender this, and I don't have to fill it with something else yet. I can just say I surrender, and I am a space of love. I surrender, and I'm a space of love. So we got surrendering the don't know, don't have a clue, God, take this. We got the surrendering the things that we know we need to release, and then surrendering how the things come back in. And some of us type A personalities are going, gosh, she says that word surrender one more time, I'm going to break out in a hive or something. I like the military definition of surrender, which is to lay down your weapons and wait for further instruction. Okay? Because those things I just mentioned, the criticisms, those are our weapons. The judgments, the old patterns even if they weren't meant to hurt anyone, just the ways that we were so tight-knuckled gripped on things, those are weapons that we've used against ourselves and other people. So being able to surrender. Now, I'm going to take you to the next part that I really want to get to, and that's my child. Anyway, no, I want to take you to another part of surrender, but I do have a couple of toddler stories to throw in because I can't stop singing, just keep swimming at the bottom of the ocean. Y'all know this song where the kids are like riding bicycles and all of a sudden they go, wait a minute, we're fish. We don't ride bicycles. Some people know it, yep. So I love that though because I love my little toddler. She's adorable. But this idea of, wait a minute, I'm not that, I'm this. I'm not that, I'm this. So this is another piece of surrender that I think is very important, and that is surrendering into the power that we are as co-creative beings with the infinite. So many times we want to surrender. I'll just surrender the how. I'm going to leave it up to God, that thy will be done. God's will is good for you. God's will is good in your life. So don't blame God and say, well, God hasn't brought that to me yet. No, you are co-creating with God, okay? Come on now. We want to surrender into the power and into the presence that resides within us. So here I am, got my toddler on my shoulders. We're doing our thing. We go see the horses every day, and we're living our best life, And two of my favorites were in the same pasture together with their colts, and another white horse. My brother, he all of a sudden he's always getting more horses. But I didn't know this one, but I figure she's innocent and harmless enough. So I go out there. I'm in the pasture, toddler on the shoulders. Treats in both hands. This is a good day. And both the mares come up, and they're so sweet, and they're just eating out of my hands. She's on my shoulders, holding on to my hair. That's always fun. And she's riding mama. And so here we are, we're doing our thing. And all of a sudden, now first, wait, pause. I grew up around horses. Okay, from the time I can remember, I had a pony and I had a horse, and my first actual real horse was a stallion. People thought I was nuts, but he was my baby. I get horses, okay, and I'm safe around horses, and I'm careful, and I know what I'm doing. And so I had to preface that. So I know that if a horse moves suddenly, you don't, okay? You don't. Because then they're like, oh, we're playing. And then, that's never going to turn out good for you. They're bigger and they're faster. So anyway, I'm feeding the babies. Well, one of the colts, the yearling, he decides to jump on his mama's back. She didn't like it. So she charged away from him. Guess which direction? Toward me. We're only this far apart in the first place. So she goes to charge. The other one is right here. She goes to charge. Both the colts are like, woohoo, we're playing. They go to charge.
I have a baby on my shoulders. And my first instinct is, what? Run! So I turn, and a split second, I mean a nanosecond, I turn and then I turn back. I turn in fear and urgency for a split second, but I know better. Wait a minute. We're not fish. Wait a minute. I know. When life is doing life things, if you try to run from it, it will always catch you and trample you. So I turned for a split second and then turned back and said, whoa. Both hands up. Whoa. One on each mare's nose, right here. Boom, boom. The whole time, baby's going, hee, 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 wee. With my hair in both hands, wee. I wish I had a video of that moment. But anyway, whoa, right? Because one of the most powerful practices of surrender, and those other parts are important to get to this part, and that is surrendering into the power and the presence of who you are, who and whose you are. Surrendering into the power that you are to co-create your experience and not run from it. If I had turned to run, those horses would have run with me. Guess who runs faster? Not me. Not even when I was playing college basketball. Thank you very much. Life happens in ways that are sudden, scary, uncomfortable, irritating. Am I right? It just shows up and it's just like, rah. And we want to run, and sometimes it doesn't mean running the other way. Sometimes we run by fighting it. So standing up and facing it, leaning into it, does not mean fighting it. Does not mean fighting it. Leaning into it, saying, whoa, could be as simple and as powerful as one of my besties who's doing the service this morning at Awakening in Charlotte at my center. And one of my favorite things that Rev Renee LeBoa has done and said over the years, and there's been many. Well, one is, you and me, God, you go first. Love that one. But the other one is, we were talking on the phone one day, and since we're talking about prosperity today on the reading, I thought I would share this. And she said, and it ties into being in your power. We're talking on the phone one day, and she was experiencing a prosperity lull. And she was telling me all the ways that money was bleeding out, right? And I have sharing with permission, by the way. I always ask for permission. She's sharing ways money was bleeding out. And then she went, wait a minute. I forgot who I was speaking from. I forgot who I was speaking from. I am Reverend Renee LeBoa, a divine child of God. I do not inherit sickness. I do not inherit poverty. I do not inherit anything that is like struggle. I am aligned with the good of God. And ding, on her computer, I heard it. And she laughed. And I said, what was that? She goes, a money notification. While she was stating her powerful word, someone was tithing to her. I heard it myself. She is claiming her divinity, and ding, PayPal or something went off. Because the universe was like, oh, shoo, I had all this I was holding for you. I'm so glad you surrendered into allowing it in. Right? Surrendered into the power of it. But when we spend all of our time trying to change the circumstances around us, right? Trying to control and force instead of be that power, we try to force instead of be that power that we are. We are powerful co-creative beings. This teaching is powerful. When we were at the INTA Congress, man, we both just got fired up because we're so excited that we get to talk about New Thought philosophy. We get to talk about New Thought teachings that change lives when we, where's it at? Number 5, whatever. I think it's number 5, right? Live the truth that we know. I should have quizzed him on it, shouldn't I? When we live the truth that we know. The truth that there's one power, one presence. It's God, and it's good, and it's everywhere, and it's always working for us. But it can only do that to the level that we let it work through us, because it is here to express as us. Whew, that's exciting. That's exciting. It's time that we own that. It's time the next time you go to a yoga class and we're going to close with an affirmation. You'll be like, we brought that mainstream. Thank you. New Thought right here. We brought that mainstream, that affirmation thing. We've been doing it for years and years. Own it. Don't be afraid to talk about it, right? So surrender into the power that we are. Otherwise, we start getting blown this way and blown that way. And carried off course. We start being twisted into a little pretzel, really, trying to be what we think other people want. Anybody besides me ever lived their life that way for a lot of years? Yes, thank you. We live our lives sometimes trying to be what we think the room we're in wants us to be, instead of knowing that we are safe in our own skin because of that divine nature of who we are. And when we do that, we're able to live from a place of freedom. We're able to live from a place of authenticity. We're able to live from a place of love and not fear. And when life gets messy and life gets sticky, we just go, whoa, okay, I felt that. Let's just step back into a place of love. And sometimes you can do that. A lot of times you can do that without even saying it, right? The person at the checkout line or the bank teller who's having a bad day, you may not have the rapport that you can say, oh, hey, Susan, hang on a second, honey. I can feel you're not feeling the love right now. Let's step into love. Come on, let's do it. Let's tap it out. Come on. We might not be able to do that, but we can do the work on the inside, right? In every moment, because our energy, our consciousness, it precedes us into every room, into every circumstance. So how do we want to be? Do we want to live from a place of love and freedom to co-create with the infinite? That's what I claim for us. And so know with me in this moment that the all good of God is right here, right now, in all ways, present with us, surrounding us, connecting us. There is so much good. And when those places of unhealed grief compound and another place of unhealed grief and want to take over, we don't run. We don't get trampled by it either. We turn and we lean into it and we say, whoa, what needs to be known here? What needs to be lifted up to that power and presence, that power of love that obliterates everything in its path? What needs to be lifted up to the oneness, given over to the wholeness of life? And so I surrender it right here, sweet Spirit, continually saying yes to that flow of life, that flowing forth, which is opulence in the first place. That flowing forth, I give into that. I say yes to that. For myself, for Unity of Savannah, for Awaken Carolina, for all of us. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. And so it is.